Hello, and welcome to another edition of Girls Talk 9.0, where we candidly talk about the movie pick of the week and occasionally the topic du jour. Today, we're going to talk about the 2024 film Imaginary, directed by Jeff Wadlow. My name is Whaley Hollow, and with me, our notorious note taker, None Your Business. And we have the sensational Sunchild. All right. So before I start, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the movie, we're going to talk about the middle, the beginning, and the end. We want you to hang around with us or come back and join us once you've seen it. So what is this film about? Basically, it's about basically it's about an imaginary friend and this woman who goes back and is reintroduced to her imaginary friend and how it wreaks havoc on her and her new family. So without further ado, Sunchild, why don't you go first?
Sunchild going first. Okay. I could not wait to see this movie. I knew it was PG-13, so I was like, that could possibly mean maybe there'll be no like sex scenes, which is fine for me because in horror, I don't need that. That's not what I'm watching it for. So I was so excited because as a child, I had fabulous friends, but I also had an imaginary friend. So even though I have siblings, my imaginary friend was like awesome to me when I wasn't with my real friends. And I could not wait to see this movie. And I'm like, oh, whatever happened to my imaginary friend? I couldn't even think of what her name was. But I think it was a girl. Couldn't remember what her name was. But I had so much promise for this movie. And now all I have is props. Trash. 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 Straight trash. Oh my goodness, trash.
Don't hold back.
Yeah, I had to bring props. This is how disappointed I was. And unfortunately for myself, I put the bar really high and it dug the dirt and came, it couldn't even make it under the bar. Didn't even make it under. It was so bad. So bad. It was so long. It was so bad. I don't even know where to start. That's how bad it was. But the promise, like the whole premise of the movie was, I thought was such a great thing. I think I could have made a better movie than that. I know I could have, in fact, I could have, because I feel like I went in there, I'm like, where is my imaginary friend? Is this why I have bad luck and things happening to me? She's around because I forgot about her. I can't even remember her name. And the whole time I'm thinking, what is her name? What is her name? And when I saw this movie, I was like, she ain't existing nowhere. This is awful. She doesn't exist nowhere. She was only in my mind, and even then, she was better than this thing. The whole movie. Where do I want to start? I couldn't even tell you the acting. I mean, the kids were so bratty that I wanted to jump through the screen. And I'm like, I don't think any adult would allow children to speak to them like that. Not in this day. Not in this day and age. The father was never there, and they talked to them like anything. And I'm like, that would not happen. Me or those kids would have to get out the house. It just wouldn't happen. They weren't just like, you're not my mother, bratty. They were just not good kids. It was like nobody raised them. It was like wolves, or maybe that horrendous. They should have made it too dark to see the monster because wild thing. Like that's all I thought of. Not even the movie, the book, if you remember the book Wild
Yeah,
Things.
yeah.
That's what it looked like. And I was like,
100%.
am I supposed to be scared of this? Like, nobody's scared of this. Someone actually had an infant crying in the theater, and I was like, she's probably crying because it's bad, because I want to cry as well. I mean, who brings an infant to a movie? I don't know, but it was horrendous. I can't express to you, don't waste your money to see this. When it's free on TV, don't waste your time to see it. It made zero sense. And I wanted to go alone. I love to go to movies alone. My husband wanted to come. Bad idea. He has questions about everything anyway. That's who he is. Didn't they escape? I thought they escaped. But I'm like, because it's stupid. Because it's stupid. That's why they did escape. It's stupid. It was why. I hate that I'm not really explaining the movie to you. I'm just telling you how bad it is because it was that bad. Let me see. The CGI with the room that they enter, the smoky ceilings and all that. I'll give that an A because that was fabulous. I don't know what it was. It wasn't scary, but I was like, it looks kind of like if Willy Wonka was somewhere, or uh, A Fabulous Life, or something. I don't know. It just looked like a cool room to be in. It didn't look scary. It didn't look like anything that a monster would have created. It was light and bubbly, and kind of like John Travolta should be dancing the way they have flashing. I'm like, is this Fever Nights? Fever Nights, the wild thing? Yeah, Saturday Night Disco or whatever. It was just all over the place and so long. I was like, it's why? I mean, in fact, it could have been an hour, but it just felt like it was 4. I'm like, is this like the Titanic plus, like, I don't know, a 3-day song? I felt like I was there forever. I was falling asleep. I've never fallen asleep during a horror movie in life, ever. I was falling asleep. Die already, just die. I was like, just kill this thing and just die. I can't even express to you that I couldn't find one good thing about it. I mean, it was hard pressed to say that the behind the wall, that room that they were in, just because it brightened up the screen and woke me up a little bit. So I was like, okay, maybe this isn't so bad. It was bad. It was awful. I wanted them all to die. The kids, the mother, the father was never there. He was absent anyway. Take him too while you're at it. The mental institutionalized mother and the wild thing monster. I am like, I don't know what was going on. It had such a great, I really felt like it had so much promise. If you would think about, any of your childhood things, I mean, my childhood imagination was phenomenal. Maybe from reading so much, from just being so alive and we didn't even have CGI back then, but just your imagination was everything. Reading books, you imagine being there, you imagine everything came to life for me as a child. Nothing in this movie, and it was right in front of my face, came alive to me. Nothing. It was dreadful. It was dreadful, and it should not have been made. Trash.
It should be banned.
Yeah, trash, straight trash. Awful, absolutely dreadful. That's what I got. That's what I got.
Okay, well, I'll go next, and I
You.
concur.
Okay.
You can't hear me?
I can now.
I'll go next. I 100% concur. And I had no expectations. I never even heard of the movie, but I tell you what, I had to stop. I wrote so many negative notes that I just ended up closing my notebook. They called it Going to the Place of Never Ever. This was the movie of never ending. I swear to God, there were 4 times when that movie could have been over and they should have saved face and ended the movie, right? I mean, they just kept getting out, going back in, getting out, going back in, going to the hospital looking like zombies. And the bubble-dyed zombies, I mean, please, please. It's almost like they saw the solar eclipse and it burst their cornea. I don't know. It was just so bad. It was really bad. And I typically try to find something because I don't know if this is this guy's first movie. I don't know if it's the director's fault, the soundtrack, the cinematographer,
Screenwriter, the
the
producer. I mean, there's a lot of hands in the pot.
There's a lot, maybe too many this time. Somebody didn't take control and say, look, stop the madness. Because I mean, I think to Sunchild's point, it could have been a really good movie had they just knew when to stop and kind of just change some things up. For example, and I thought, I love the song they played in the beginning, but how long was that recording? Like when they were showing her with her mom in the beginning, I'm like, this is 15 minutes alone. Yeah, I felt like it was long too. And it's tough to sit through a long, boring movie, right? The only time you can sit through a movie when it's long is if it's really captivating. And this was not captivating. I mean, there were so many things. I think we should dig deeper into it, but I'm just going to summarize and say I really didn't like it either. And I'm going to let Nunya go. And then I just want to really dig into some points that I just thought were just ridiculous, pretty much ridiculous.
Everybody gets on me for my notes, but these were my notes from this movie. And if you look, closely, you'll see it's blank.
Oh
Because
Lord.
I, like Whaley, just said, I just put the pen down and I said, I'm just gonna have to grin and bear this. I don't even want it to sink into my consciousness by taking notes. The acting, what? So wooden. The dialogue was so cringy from start to finish.
Jesus Christ.
I actually agree with you both. The plot was okay, right? The plot is a good idea. I never had an imaginary friend, but one of my siblings did, and I was afraid of the idea of imaginary friends. So we all have had experiences with it, and it's such a good idea that nobody, people haven't done this before. Maybe they have, and we can't think of the movie, but I think it had so much potential. The characters were so unlikable. I wanted to punch both of those kids in the face multiple times. I could not stand that little girl. And there was no chemistry between the acting. That woman was not married to that man, and he was not those kids' father. And I get it.
Because he was their
No,
age. It's like you're the same age as your daughter. This is not right. I
there was
don't care what
no
you've been
chemistry.
doing.
Zero.
Every movie has to have the nosy old lady next door.
Yeah.
Even I didn't even like her. I
Right.
didn't like any of the
Right.
characters.
Right.
Unlikable. And when we get into the CGI, we really don't get into the CGI. What the fuck is that?
What CGI?
What CGI?
Yeah.
So yes, I concur. This was it was infuriatingly stupid and dumb, and I was struggling. But I do think the plot had potential.
So much potential. That's what made me so angry, because just when I heard about this movie, I was so excited. Like, wow, imagine that. And I'm like looking around, like maybe this is why I have bad luck, or this is why things happen to me. Can't even remember my imaginary friend's name, and I have really thought hard. That's the only thought-provoking thing this movie has brought to my life, is I'm trying to remember what I named. I'm pretty sure it had like just an ordinary, regular everyday name, but I, for the life of me, cannot remember it. And that movie just made me want to forget about everything. I'm like, it was awful. I cannot. I'm with you. The acting was horrible. It just, none of it was believable whatsoever.
None.
There was one part in the movie that I will say. Oh, did you want to say something, William?
No, just please bring something to light that I can
There was
agree
one
with.
part in the movie that I actually sat up and had hope for. Okay, I will say this. I love the therapist. She's in
I
another
did too.
Love
I
her.
did too.
I don't know
thought
if you
she
guys
did a good job.
watched Why Women Kill, but it's kind of like Desperate Housewives. It's funny, it's drama. I love her.
Yeah, she was
you have
good.
to watch. She's awesome. I love her, everything about her. When she came and she went to talk to the little girl, at that moment when she said, "What teddy bear?" and they did all the flashbacks, and there is
Right.
no teddy bear, the little
Right.
girl, and I was like, "Oh,
Right.
there's hope. Like there's something happening right here, right now. Something
Right.
is going to happen. Maybe it's only the mother that has this issue. Maybe something."
Right.
Nothing. At that, I'm like, yo, they should have just let me finish it, because I had so many things going on in my brain. Like this is a point where it's going to change everything for me, and I'll overlook the acting and the bad, scenes and all that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing. I couldn't believe that they took me way up for nothing. Like it was like a firework, but it goes up and then nothing happened. Everybody's looking, waiting, and it fizzles out. You don't get nothing. That's what it was. I was so disappointed. I'm like, that was the only highlight in the movie that I actually sat up in my chair thinking, okay, this is all what it's been for. I've waited for this moment. I can bypass everything that sucked if this moment, catapults it somewhere. Nowhere. It did nothing. No cat, no pulp, no nothing. Awful. It was dreadful.
I like the therapist too. I thought she actually did a good job, and she was more realistic. She's like, there is no teddy bear, and here, call my friend because you need help too. And she's like, she did her part and she left. But listen, in the very beginning when they moved into the house, right? I don't know if you guys noticed the marks on the wall of the height, right? They show the height.
I did not notice it.
The 2-year-old was an inch shorter than the 5-year-old. I was like, and guys kept thinking, well, who is this? Right? They showed, I guess it was her as a child. Her mother or grandmother must have marked her height as she got older. You
You
know
talking
how
about Kathleen,
parents do that.
the stepmother? Are you talking about the main character, the stepmother?
Uh, who's Kathleen?
I thought her name was Kathleen. I don't know, but the main character, the stepmother, is that who you're talking about?
No, the main character herself, when she was a child in
Yeah,
Right.
the
So the
house.
main character when she was a child. Okay. I just
Yes.
didn't know who you were talking about.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think maybe her grandmother, I'm not sure, or her mom, I'm not sure who put the marks on the wall, but I noticed that the 2-year-old, the 4 and the 5-year-old were literally like 3 inches apart. I'm like, that's the tallest two. You should have questioned that, first of all. That is the tall, because I kept thinking, who is this child gonna be? And then I realized, oh, it's her. So she really didn't grow that much from when she was like, I don't know, I just thought that was weird. Like the markings on the wall. I mean, I get it. We all do that, but at least make it look a little more realistic. And to me, that was when it started to go downhill. Like once I saw that, I was like, okay, well, that if they took no effort into that, then this is probably going to go
I
downhill.
thought that was
And
supposed to be her at
it was
2 and
supposed to be her. Yeah.
that. Okay.
Yeah, but I'm guessing what I'm saying is that the distance between the 2-year-old and the 5-year-old was so small that it was hard to believe. Like a
Oh.
2-year-old, that 2-year-old was either a giant or that 5-year-old was a midget. Like I don't know what it was, but they were too close in height. Like it just seemed unbelievable. And then just the very opening, when she comes out of Never Ever, I'm going to call this the never ending movie. When she comes out in the very beginning, the opening scene, right? She comes out of the door, she rubs the fake blood on the wall that says it was actually the list of the things she was supposed to do for Chauncey, right? I don't know, go hurt yourself, go do this, all this weird stuff. And she goes, I'm sorry, we couldn't end the game. Led me to believe that she was in there until she was an adult. Right? Because like, why the heck is she just coming out? Because they never showed that scene again. So I thought, well, maybe she was in there her whole life, which is really
Start from
odd.
scratch. What room is she in now?
In
Where is she?
the opening scene, they show a corridor and you see her come out of a room. And she's like
As an adult, Jessica as an adult.
as an adult, yes. And she's against the wall and she's rubbing herself against the wall and she's saying, I'm sorry, we couldn't end the game. And you notice she rubs the fake blood on the wall where like the list is there. And then it kind of ends there and she wakes up and it's a dream. But I'm like, am I supposed to believe, like, how is she seeing this as an adult when she doesn't even remember this imaginary friend? I don't know, just the whole thing. I just couldn't make sense of anything in this movie. And I don't like to not make sense of stuff because it's really tough to understand the movie, you know?
I didn't understand the movie at all either. I didn't understand. And in fairness, when a movie does not captivate me, I tend to pay less attention to it. And so there's parts that I'm sure I missed. I didn't understand why the dead wife showed up.
The
Who
dead,
was
she, who?
remember the kids, the children's mom had passed away or something?
Oh,
I
no,
don't
she was
think
just in the
dead.
hospital.
Right. She was
wasn't dead.
institutionalized, right?
She was institutionalized.
Yeah, I don't think she was dead.
Yeah.
I mean, she was.
She was institutionalized? So
Yeah,
was that not her in the house?
that was her. Somehow she snuck into a house. She didn't even have well, her daughter gave the address and she snuck out of the institution into this lady's house.
Right.
And what was her purpose? I just didn't understand
To muck shit
why
up.
she
I mean,
was
like, I
in
have no
there.
idea.
I was like, okay, what's the connection? Does she know something about the imaginary friend? She just kind of
And-
showed up, scared people for 1 second, and
Right.
then we
Right. And that's it.
And
The wrap.
and then but they're having a dialogue with her. This meant I don't know.
Herein lies the ridiculousness of this movie. Like there
Right,
it lies
right.
right there. I'm like,
Right.
did she come from Never Ever? Like where I knew she was institutionalized. I knew she had problems because I remember
Right.
the stepmother, explaining
Yep.
these things
Yep.
to them. But how did she know there was something going on? Like, is it because she's as crazy as we are for going to see this movie? Like, I don't understand.
That's why.
What's
That's
she doing?
it.
Yeah, what is she doing?
That's
She's
it.
trying to get them out of it, just like I would as well. It was awful. It was awful. I
I
can't.
think she said, I miss my daughters or something, but how did she get out of the hospital? And God, unless the hospital's around the corner, how the heck did she make it all the way to this house? And how bad is this stepmom who doesn't even know someone's in her house? Like,
That's why I
close the
thought it was
doors,
I
damn
thought she
it.
I thought she had died because I thought she was supposed to be a ghost in that scene when when her daughter's talking to her,
Yeah.
right? And then because she runs out and she, and yeah, they were tumbling, but then she just kind of just disappeared off the face of the movie. And I'm like, so was she real or was she imaginary? But she
No,
was real. That was
definitely
their real
real
mother.
because the cops came and said, the guy said, that's my ex-wife, the
He
daughter's.
did. Yeah, I still was confused. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I forgot
Yeah.
about that part.
And if
Just
somebody's jumping on you like that, wouldn't you be tussling with them? Like you just, I mean, they're in your house. First of all, they scared the shit out of you. They're in your house and they look like a ghost. I mean, you would be wailing on that person. They would have to take you off. Like, I mean, there would be no, yeah, up in the corner, like, oh my God, what's happening? It's
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
just like I said,
what did we need that scene for? To your point about cutting out unnecessary stuff, what was the point of bringing that mother into the house at all? It was like this ridiculous disruption that just dissipated and we were never was never mentioned again. And it just was like, what, this cut out that 10 minutes. It added no
Yep.
value.
Yep.
none.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Yep.
like okay, all right. I know we're supposed to be starting at the beginning. We're all over the place because this
We
movie is
are.
all over the place.
Exactly, because the movie
It
is.
is. It's very hard to follow. But for the people, for the writer, the director, the producer, are they new? Is this like their first horror movie? I mean, I didn't look at any of that, but I'm like, maybe this is not their forte. Maybe they're used to
Right.
doing other types of movies. I mean, I just didn't follow a lot of things that happened, and it wasn't consistent. It didn't flow. There were a lot of things that could have been cut out unless it was going to have a purpose later on in the movie, and it never did. It never did. And it was like they never talked about the mother again, really. I'm like, what happened to it? Did she go back to the mental institution? Was she a figment of their imagination? I mean, I just don't.
Yeah, just cut. Just cut and chop
Yeah,
that piece
just
out. And then there's a
and
scene where the little girl, they're playing hide and go seek, right? The stepmom, uh,
her name is
she
Jessica.
Jessica gets a
Yeah, I
call
just
from
looked it
her
up.
job. And rather than saying, hey, I got a call, she goes outside and leaves the girl wandering around the house. The girl
Right.
goes into the basement. First of all, what child, it's a new house, what child is going to go into a dark basement? Please
Yeah.
tell
Every
that
kid
part.
in every horror movie, but
Okay.
no real child ever does that.
No
Okay,
real-
okay. But I'm talking about real people. This is
Oh,
a
never.
Saint Joe
It's
Never
never-
Land.
It's never happened in the history of children.
Like,
Yeah.
so she goes down there and that's where she finds Chauncey, right? And that's where it all starts. But I'm like, no, you wouldn't go down there. Like, you wouldn't do that. And then the stepmom comes back in. It's like, okay, we can finish playing. It's like you drop the ball. You don't just leave. You're playing hide and go seek. You know where the kid's going, and the kid is new to the house. It just seems so irresponsible. Was she supposed to be an adult? Like, I wasn't really sure her age because they
Wait,
looked
the
so
mother or
young
the
as parents.
oh,
right?
the little girl who looked like
No,
an adult in a
Jessica
child's
and
body. Yeah. That girl had so much attitude.
which one?
Uh,
Taylor?
Chauncey's friend, the little girl who
Oh,
had the
Alice.
redheaded friend. Alice, yes. She had a lot of
Alice.
attitude.
Yeah, she said, I hate him too. Maybe you can eat him when the boyfriend came over who was a jerk. I mean,
yeah.
he was supposed to go upstairs and get towels. What does he do? Go upstairs, pisses on the floor, dries his hands, doesn't flush the toilet, and walks out and gets attacked by a teddy bear with a pull string. Do they even have pull string toys this year in 2024? I don't know. Do they?
I don't think so.
Unlikely, possibly,
mean-
but unlikely. But the question is, why did he see it? Right?
Yeah,
Because why did he see it? Because we know he saw it. Everybody else was like, oh
Exactly.
no, only the mother seeing it. No, he saw it. Because I was thinking what he was thinking, which is I'm gonna drop this Teddy Ruskin lookalike again. But
Right.
why did he saw it?
He saw it.
It was physically there.
It was attacking him. Yes.
Yes, but they never mentioned again that
No,
there's like
no.
all these characters that come in and then disappear, and then they don't
Yeah.
even
And he shut his window when the girl came looking for Allison. He's like, yeah, I don't want any parts of this. He shut his window. We are not
Sure
friends
did.
anymore.
Sure did. I
Don't
wouldn't be
call
friends with
me.
those kids.
Right.
I wouldn't be friends with those kids. And what is up with her father? Why did they have that man looking
That's,
crazy?
well, listen, I mean, yeah, I guess they want you to think
No, I don't mean the
musicians
girl's
look
father.
all.
I mean Jessica's dad.
Oh my God. Did he really have a tooth missing or not?
Let me see if I could do a
Yeah.
reenactment of the mouth because
Because I'm like, wait a
let me see.
minute.
Let's see if I got something big enough for the gap.
I mean,
Yeah, like this. You said you could send a truck down that gap. I just didn't. It was hard for me to take that character seriously. I felt
Looked
like
like
they
the
just
Smith Hill
presented
Tunnel,
him as
didn't
a
it?
buffoon.
right? The whole thing. The whole
I was like, what
You
was
know,
that all about?
I have
Again,
no clue. No, they had you almost believing that he had kind of like dementia or some kind of memory loss. Like, are you here to bring my food? And then all of a sudden, oh, it's you, Jessica. It's like, what's happening?
and
It's
then
CB.
what the heck
You and
happened at
that
the
damn
end?
CB. CB, come on. You couldn't. CB, I'm sure she called him Chauncey because everybody
right,
knew the name. You and that damn
right.
CB, he was saying. Like, I can't. I can't. I can't.
You know what we
I
needed?
couldn't
We
say
needed the
Chauncey, so you
father.
Yeah.
TV. What? No, I would have sat there with my child and been like, "It's Chauncey. Enunciate, Chauncey. Like, see, you're not going to say CB if it's Chauncey. It's not.
Exactly, because I thought it was a radio. Like, what is she talking
Right.
about?
I didn't know what they were talking about either, but
I'm
I
like,
felt
they
like
didn't know what they were
you know,
talking
There
about.
was nothing that made any sense. Nothing
No.
correlated. There was no connection. Not even with the characters. There was just nothing. And yeah, if this thing is under the towel while he's in the bathroom, I mean, he might have been startled, and I think anybody would have left. If something wasn't there, now it's there.
Right.
I'm out.
Right.
I'm gonna
Right.
stay there and play with it and chase, a string. I'm not doing any of that. Like, what is he doing?
And
I don't
who
know.
chases who? Your initial, if you're chasing something, your initial thought is to put your foot on it, not reach all the way down with your hand. It's like that's too far down. Your foot is
Right,
right there, and
right
you're a
there,
guy.
right there.
You're not gonna go reaching all the way down. It's like this is, and the string. Okay, this is the funniest part on the planet. When he put his foot on the string and they showed the teddy bear down, way down, all of a sudden it was way down at the end of the corridor. Did you see the pose he had? It looked like he was doing some ballet move. His foot was crossed and his hand was up. I'm like, what the hell? The whole thing
I
was
didn't
just a
even notice.
nightmare. It
I
was
didn't
just
even
a
notice.
nightmare.
It was.
I didn't.
I mean,
Oh
at that
my
point, I
God.
think I was running. I was like, "This is just awful. This is
Yeah,
awful."
it was pretty bad. Let's see.
And I have to talk about that monster.
What monster?
Chauncey was not scary. A couple times though, they would, you know, he looked sinister, and so there was again potential. And then
Right.
he turned into, I don't know what it was. I don't know what that thing was. Bigfoot. I don't know what.
It kind of like Bugs Bunny when he had that orange, like, remember that orange scary monster thing? That was, I don't know.
I know what you mean.
Yes.
I know what you mean. I know
Yes.
exactly what you mean.
Yes, I love that orange.
Yes.
That's scary. He had like
Stupid.
sneakers and he was orange and just like a ball of
Yeah.
fur.
Yeah, he was like a furry tooth. It looked like
Yeah.
it was the shape of a tooth, but it was all fur and
Right,
orange
right.
fur. That's exactly. I was like, all this
But
time,
then
that's the
they
best
had
you can do.
they had the black shadow. Like every time you saw the shadow, it was like a guy with his head tilted and like
Where was
Poindexter
he?
ears. What was he?
What
Really,
was
what
he?
was he? I don't
And
know.
then Jessica's imaginary friend was, I guess, a cricket.
Is it?
And she kept drawing, and I had the little black eyes, and then every once in a while somebody would show up with black eyes. You're like, these people were high out of their minds when they made this movie.
Yeah, they were definitely high on some bad kush or something when they did this movie, because I'm like, okay, that reminded me of The Fly with the eyes, but I'm like,
yeah.
Fly in 1960s was scarier today than that was. I'm like, it's just not scary to me. Just not scary. Just
I
not-
I mean, but for real though, what was her imaginary friend? Was it a cricket?
I
It looked like
I
it
thought
looked
it was
like a
Chauncey. I
cricket.
thought it was the bear because she kept
Oh,
drawing.
but
the
she
bear.
kept drawing pictures of something with multiple legs and
Oh,
black
that's
eyes.
her story. The Millipede. That's the book that she wrote.
that's the
But
book
I
that
thought, but we saw those elements in the
And
movie. That's
yeah,
why I say,
I
was
don't
that her
know. I
imaginary
don't know
friend?
why. I don't know why.
yeah, I don't know. I thought
Again, there's no
one of-
reason for it.
remember one of the kids like
Whatever
cut
we
the
say.
hair out or ruined her. So I thought like that Chauncey brought it to life. But I mean, this you really had to use your own imagination because it was so bad and it just had pieces of things and nothing connected together. So that
Right,
was the part
right.
that my husband was like, they were in the hospital talking to her father, and then they all turned around and he was like, didn't she escape? And I'm like, shut up. Don't you say one
Not
more
again.
thing.
Not
I'm like,
again.
leave. He's like, no, we're not leaving. We came. And I was like, oh, I just don't even. I've never really wanted to walk out on a movie. I wanted to walk out. I
The
wanted to
fact
walk.
that
It was bad.
we aren't even sure who the imaginary friend was. Was it? I mean, we know it was Chauncey, but we did keep seeing a black figure.
Yep.
We
Right.
also kept
Yep.
seeing some kind of cricket-looking thing, some
Millipede
sort
looking
of
thing. Yep.
praying
Yep.
mantis thing with black
Yep.
eyes. Like,
Yep.
what was the connect? What is all this?
It
They
was
did not explain. They never connected one dot. And again, if a movie's well made, you don't even have to connect the dots for us. We'll follow. Here, you were just like, what is that? What is this thing? Why are they? Is it evil? Is it meant to be helpful? Like, what is it? It just.
And how about nonsensical Nancy next door? Stay out of the business. Why would you? I mean, I'm telling you, listen, if we're in that disco, right, whatever that little scary room was supposed to be, and you are 90 and you lock the door, if I can't pounce on you and beat your ass and you're 90, something's wrong with me. Because you just locked me in a basement and all I can do is say, why'd you do that? And you got the scissors? No, it's going to be one-on-one because there's no way. There's no, I would be so angry. Like they just backed up, like, oh my God, she just
It made
locked
no
us in the
sense.
disco.
Because
I'm
all of a
calling it the
sudden,
disco.
again,
I
another
don't care.
character now brought in. Oh, I should have done that when Jessica was a child and I didn't.
I was afraid. Yeah. So why are you still not afraid now? Just get out of here.
Right.
So you waited 72 years to just stay
Exactly.
next door in hopes that somebody would
Exactly.
come. Yeah, I would have kicked her down the street. But I
Yep.
didn't like her from the minute she was walking
Nope.
up to the kids, telling everybody's business.
Nope.
Crazy.
Nope. No. And can we talk about the elephant in the room? Taylor. Her name was Taylor or Taylor, right? Or Tyler. Taylor, the girl's name. The teenager.
Taylor, I think, yeah.
Let me tell you something. If my teenager, if my husband's teenager ever said to me, are you gonna make lunch or do I have to do it? I would be like, give me a minute, Miss Nosy. I will take her around the front and whoop the shit out of her. It's either her or my husband because somebody's gonna have it. Like, how dare you? I don't care if you hate my guts. This is just a level of respect. You just don't go there. You just don't.
Yeah.
And she let her get away with everything. And when she said, how come you didn't do anything about it when you were 5? She was like, well, I was 5 and my parents went through. You don't owe her. You don't owe her that explanation.
Wouldn't
You don't
answer
owe her that
nothing.
explanation.
Nope. Just kick her
Yeah,
down
that
the
would have been,
basement, lock the
we would
door.
have been beefing. We would have been beefing. Like
We
and
would
how
have
dare
been
you go on tour?
beefing. I'm like, who raised these kids that they talk
Nobody
to
raised
adults
them.
like that? Like,
Nobody
yeah,
raised them.
nobody.
Both
No,
of the kids
mother was
were,
in the nut house. Father was never
No,
there. No,
no,
nobody taught
no,
them that you don't speak to adults like that, especially adults that have
no.
keys to the house and control over your food. You want to eat, like you will never eat. Go to your
Right?
room. Go to your
Right?
room.
Talk about imaginary friend. You'd have several by the time I'm done with you.
You will have several, and that's all you'll have.
You see all kinds of shit. What's that?
Imaginary parents as well, because I will not. You will not talk to me that. That's
She never
crazy.
once brought it up to her husband. Like
Ever,
you need to work on
ever.
your daughter. You know, you need to.
both of the daughters. I thought both of the kids were
Yes.
just
Both of those kids
insanely
were.
unlikable.
Oh,
But the father, it's always the same, right? They move
always.
into a house,
MIA.
and then that day he goes on a 4-week
Yep, that
vacation
day.
somewhere,
That day.
That house had, again, so many rooms. It
Yeah,
didn't even
of
look like the
course.
same house. Honestly, it looked like
No.
scenes from different houses.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Which fits into the fact that nothing felt real in this movie.
Nothing
No.
felt
No.
Not the
And
house, not the friends.
the neighbor,
No.
when suddenly she turned when they were in that never ever, and she was like, "Oh, this is great," and I'm like, "Oh, here we go."
No.
Like here we. I knew something was up with her.
Yeah, no.
I don't know what it was. I didn't think it was gonna be that, but I'm like, of course it is.
Yeah.
Why would?
Yeah.
And then, like no.
It was just, oh, I don't know. It was just
But I was
so
happy
dumb.
I killed. I was like, good, kill, eat her. Like she wants to stay so bad, take her. I was like,
But listen, answer this for me. One of the things on the list was do something that makes you hurt. Why did they go to the extreme? Why are you cutting your throat, cutting your thumb, breaking your wrist? Why
Impaling
can't you just
yourself.
stick a needle? Why can't you just cut your skin? Why can't you trip down the stairs? Why are you killing people? Like, why? Like,
right.
there's
You
nothing
can
in
take a
between
pin,
that.
again, that hurts. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Hit yourself, that hurts. Like,
Like,
why must
exactly. But
be
no, the
go to the
kid
10th
cut his
tower?
thumb. She's gonna slam her hand on a nail. Like, you guys dumb? What are you daft? There's so many other ways to hurt yourself. You don't have to go that extreme.
And what mother, not even a mother, because she wasn't a mother, but what person would see a child's a treasure hunt and see something like find something to hurt myself and not immediately react to it?
Oh, she didn't remember originally, for some reason, she was suspicious of the list, but she wasn't smart enough to see that there was writing on the back and flip it over. So she had only taken a picture of the front,
Oh, the front. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
and all
Way.
the writing
That's
was on the back.
advanced. That was too advanced for her.
Yeah.
And I'm
That
gonna
was high school. She didn't get there. Yeah.
listen. In my neighborhood growing up, you always dressed ready for what was gonna happen. I don't
Right?
know why these people in movies. I'm like, if your house is haunted, get your sneakers and your jeans ready.
And your
Put
weapon,
your
like,
shorts on.
by the
Stop
door.
running around in sundresses. You know what I mean? It's always the same. I'm like, isn't that just obvious? Get up that day and dress.
Yeah.
Dress like you're gonna be running. Like you're gonna be climbing.
Yeah,
I'm
not
just-
flip-flops. You got sneakers, t-shirts,
Right?
weapons.
Right?
Have some weapons on you, knives. I mean, even you're a child, but you still should know something. You know what I mean?
And
I
one
just
of those
running around in
outfits,
her canary yellow dress, climbing, swimming. I was like, please.
she wasn't
Mhm.
ready. Like,
She
and
was
then one of the
not ready.
outfits, I was like, what the heck? It was looked like I don't even know what she had on. It was bedazzled. It was, I don't even know what it was. It was like 15 different, listen, to each his own. You want to be creative, I get it. But I was like, damn, what's
Listen,
happening here? It was like the whole movie. And no, if this wasn't the worst scene, how about when they go when they're in this never ever and they go to their old house number and the little girl's in there having a tea party and her mother's behind the door. Her mother comes out. What does the stepmom do? We have to use our imagination. And they start pulling blue shit from everywhere and just sticking it on the wall. Help me, Jesus. Like, what were they trying to do? You just gotta use your
But it worked.
imagination.
It worked. Hey
That's
guys,
the
if we
worst
want to
part.
create a portal, just stick paper on the wall. And we can create our own portal.
That's exactly.
And then everybody, let's go real slow through the portal now that it's there. I could not.
Oh
I'm
my-
with you. I was like,
And the black
point the
paint to
movie
close
was
it up. All you needed was paint. That shit that same paint had been sitting there for 32 years. That same paint, the same black paint her dad covered it up with is still sitting there. Come
But
on
this
now.
is, God bless Jessica, right? She goes in the room, she thinks her daughter's in the bed, or her
Oh.
stepdaughter's in the bed. And
No,
because
no.
she's mother of the year, she talks to her daughter with her daughter's blanket over her head.
Yeah.
And she stays there and has a 20-minute conversation with a
Yep.
5-year-old whose head is covered.
Yep.
Then she looks out the window and lo and behold, the daughter's out the window.
Duh.
Duh. Then she slow walks back to the bed. I'm like, it's out. It's done. I'm out the room.
Ow, you don't have to know under there. Go. You know it's not your daughter. Just go.
Listen, if your daughter doesn't answer in the first call, you close the door or you go over there whacking that thing. Like, you know, it's not going to assume, because your kid should know better. When I talk to you, you answer. If she's under the covers like that, and you sat on the bed too, she sat on the edge of the bed and still, you can't hear breathing. You don't see anything moving. You do. Like, come on,
Yeah,
come on.
I know.
I know they told you to do that,
Mother,
but you should have
something is wrong with the
protested.
child, you know.
I mean,
don't know.
it's not a parent alive that's going to have that kind of conversation with their child without their child looking at them. That's the first thing they're going to say. You better
Exactly.
look at me. You better look at me when I'm talking to you.
Exactly.
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 Sure they
It's like
comprehend.
there was another scene when she went to the basement door. Maybe she thought the girl was down there hiding out. No, she goes, Alice, are you down there? Alice doesn't answer. Now, this is what I would have done. I was like, okay, my kid wants to play. I'm locking the door in 5. How much you want to bet? They would not be in front of you in 2.
Exactly. That's exactly what you do. That's exactly. Thought they were getting
We all know when they get to 3, you better be out that
Or you're
door.
gonna be locked in the basement.
Yeah,
That's where you want to be. That's where you're gonna be. Like,
exactly.
it was,
Wouldn't be at 1 and I'd be on the step.
yeah, exactly.
No, and the whole thing, it's just
Exactly.
sad because it really did have a lot of potential. I love the therapist. I was like, well, she's here. Maybe. I was still holding out hope. I was still holding out hope that, okay, maybe the beginning's going to suck, but they're going to wrap it up. And in the end, it's all going to make sense for me. Like, I was still using my imagination, but they did not use theirs because it was horrendous. They just had, it was like they sat at a round table and everybody had their input and they were like, we'll use everyone's ideas. And they just threw it
all on the table.
Throw it all on the
That's what
table.
That's what it seemed like to me. It seemed like, and I've heard about this where a movie will start and then they'll fire the director or the writer and then they'll add new
That
writers.
happens.
It
Yeah.
felt like a script that had gone around over and
Yeah.
over again with, like you said,
Yeah.
everybody adding pieces to it. Maybe it was
Yeah.
rushed, but there was so many roads that led nowhere, characters that had no purpose,
Yeah.
and it just
Yeah.
was like nobody pulled it all together and said, okay, let's sum this up and let's make this move forward. Back there. But it was so discombobulated.
Oh, it really was. It really was. And I just want to know, the nonsensical neighbor kept saying, I'm just feel so bad what happened to Jessica. I'm trying, what happened to her? Like, what actually happened other than the fact that she went in that never ever, but she made it sound as if, because she went in there and she came out, right? She made it
But I got
sound
the
as if,
impression that when she, again, who knows? Because the movie couldn't explain anything.
yeah,
When
yeah,
she
yeah.
went into this, like I said, when she disappeared, I got the impression that when she came back, her disappearance changed the dynamics of the family, right? So then the father was acting, and maybe did the family collapse? Maybe she got taken away from her parents after she came back. I don't
She
know.
did,
Like
but
something,
because the dad quote went crazy because of course he
so I
saw,
think
he
that's what
caught this
happened.
fictitious blue thing. Yeah. But I don't understand what happened to her, other than the fact that she went there and she came out. The neighbor made it seem like there was something else. It was bigger than that.
Right.
Oh,
And I couldn't figure out why. And then what did they call it? The blinky blinky, inky dinky, blinky dinky. She went to the neighbor's house and she said,
I could not. I really could not. I mean, it just, as the moments clocked away, I'm like, it just getting worse. Yeah, what would she call it? Blinky blinky?
something like, what the hell? Where did that come from? I never heard that until she was at that lady's house. So the blinky blinky is real?
The whole thing. It was just like, just ludicrous.
Oh,
It just
man.
bordered on like absolutely ridiculous. Like,
Now, if this were a comedy, I'd give it 5 stars.
I mean, I laughed a lot of times.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean,
If it was
towards
comedy,
the end, I was falling out. When they went into the blue world, I was on the floor laughing because it was just it was so silly. And, the beauty of being a small channel is that, we're not going to hurt anybody's feelings.
Yeah.
But man, the acting even at the very end was so painful.
It was
I was
painful.
like, oh,
It
I
was
was
painful, but
laughing. It was painful.
it was. But when you think about how bad the movie was, like I couldn't even believe the therapist was in there because I like her so much as an actress. I'm like,
She's
they
great.
couldn't be anybody else good in here. Like, why would anybody want to be in this movie? It's awful. It's awful. And I would love to find out from like a child if they saw it, what they thought. I would love to see if, you know, from a child's mind, you know, did they think it was good?
Yeah.
Because I,
Was it a low budget film? Like that's the first thing that came to my mind. But then it's like at the big screen, 2024, probably not, but it felt like a low budget film.
how much money did they spend on that? Let's see. Let's look it up just because I'm so curious.
It is kind of low budget, 10 to 12 million. That's low budget.
Okay.
Oh, I would love to see the reviews. Like I'm looking at this and all these things are coming up, and I'm like,
I
what?
know. I'm reading through this, and it says it's got on Rotten Tomatoes, it's 26%. And it says Imaginary's core concept is solid enough to produce a handful of scares, but too much of its potential is lost in a cliched story that gets bogged down in world building.
You could bog down in what?
World building?
World.
I don't really, I think maybe they mean all these different scenarios and not.
Interesting.
Wow, I'm surprised that it's like a blockbuster win for a Blumhouse. Wow, what? I'm like, what? Yeah, 10. It was projected to gross 10 to 14 million, but I don't see what they spent on me. I mean,
and it
pretty
probably will. I mean, that's like
yeah, probably will. I mean,
really
I
a
saw
lot.
it. I just not. I just there's no like I can't even form a whole sentence like the movie couldn't form a whole like scene.
Exactly.
Nothing connected. It just I would love to see like what maybe just preteens think of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't did
Yeah.
not like.
I don't know. It was tough for me. Looks like we lost Nanya. Hopefully she'll jump back in.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was tough for me. Excuse me. And unfortunately, I had to watch it twice because the first time I watched it and I was like, there's got to be something I can find positive about it. So I watched it again, and the second time I was like, yeah, no, there is nothing. And I really couldn't get past the fact that it wouldn't end. That's why I called it the never ending rather than the never ever. It was
Never
never ending.
so
Like,
long. It was so
yeah.
long for no reason. For no
No
reason.
reason. They should have, cut their losses. And the first time they came through the door, boom, it should have been the end of the movie. But nope, they must have liked coming through the door because they did it
Yeah.
too many times. Right.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I just don't think the eye thing, like nothing connected for me. Nothing connected.
Yeah.
You know, even if it were like the millipede or centipede or whatever that thing is she was drawing, how did that connect with Chauncey? Like if Chauncey was supposed to be her childhood friend and it had this, I don't know, it didn't even really seem to be angry at her. Like I was waiting for it to do things to her, but
Right.
I mean, but that's what it was, upset that she left it behind, but it seemed to just like come back for what and attach itself to other people. I mean, I don't know. I still don't understand any of it. That I don't know what happened.
And to Nunyan's point, right? She couldn't see it. The therapist couldn't see it. The Taylor said she couldn't see it, but we know the boy saw it.
Yeah.
And Jessica saw it. So who's
Right.
seeing this thing and who's not? Like, why would the
And-
neighbor see it?
Right. And why? Why is it only certain people seeing it and not? When I found out that it was connected or not connected, was it the same writer as Megan? Like Megan to me wasn't, I saw Megan. It wasn't horror really, but I liked it. I mean, I thought
Yeah,
the
it
scene
wasn't,
was
I
really
thought
good.
it was okay. Yeah. Oh my God. So it was Jeff Wadlow,
I'm trying to think.
director?
Oh, and then it had because they equate it with the Fast Freddy's 5, which was that
Oh,
was horrible. I don't know
yeah,
if you saw that. There's
I
another one.
did. I couldn't.
I don't know if you
Yeah.
ever saw Funhouse when you were younger, like the original Funhouse,
I don't recall.
the desolate. I don't know if it was desolate or if it was just after hours or whatever, but amusement park closed
Yeah.
after hours. Things that went on, and they always lead you to believe that they're seedy characters that own and work there anyway.
Yeah, of course.
Gypsies and odd people, tall man, bearded lady, all that. So they were after hours talking and dividing money, and people snuck in, and then they were murders. And actually, I mean, probably like leave out the fact that there was no CGI back then. I liked that movie. I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
Great, if children are sneaking in here and things that they shouldn't, and these are kind of like drifters anyway. It's not too far fetched that they might, kill them and keep their secrets hidden. So I thought Fast Freddy was gonna be like somewhere along that line. It was. Why am I seeing this movie? Like, I don't even think teenagers would like it, honestly. So it had some connection with those two. I'm trying to think if it was the same director, or I'm trying to see where I even saw that. I saw it somewhere in here. But yeah, I still have no connection to the characters, to the monster.
Right. Yeah, the things that I look for, is the connection, the chemistry, right? The soundtrack. Well, there were some times where I believe they enhanced the sound, but it wasn't always at the right time. Like there were a couple of times when I said that would have been a good time for a sound effect, but it didn't really happen like that. So, I mean, yeah, the things that I would typically try to give credit for, I was struggling. I was really struggling.
I struggled to find anything positive to say about it, other than ultimately it did end. Ultimately, it was over.
That's so funny. Yeah.
She overheated.
I'm not sure if Nunya's gonna make it back. Let's see what she's saying here. So maybe we can
maybe we'll have to discuss what we're going to view next.
well, we know, right? We're gonna do.
Oh, we're doing the 28 days, right? And
so this is this week coming, so we're not gonna skip a week. We're gonna do it.
Oh, we're not coming. Okay, so that's the 24th.
Yeah, so we're gonna do both of them, the 28 days and then the 28 weeks. Yeah, it'll be interesting to kind of do them back to back. So
yeah.
Anyway, let's score this one. You want to go first?
Can I do 0? Is there a 0? Can I do -5? I mean, it's not on board.
Yeah,
that's all I can say. It's no number on board, so it's sub anything. It's 0 or under, because it was. I don't like anything. There was nothing for me to give it. I mean, if I give it a point for the psychiatrist and the fact that one scene where I really thought something was going to happen, then I could give it a 1.
Yeah.
But that would be the best I could do. And I have to say -5. It was awful. It was awful, and it was too long.
So you're saying you're going to give it a 1 or a 0?
Yeah, I'll do, just to put it on board, I'll do 1 for the psychiatrist, because I love her as an actress. Yep. She's amazing. And for that one scene moment in time. And she wasn't in the movie very long, so that's the 1. That's it, 1.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I agree. I would also give it a 1, and that's pushing it. And I really would not like to give any movie a 0, because even though I didn't necessarily like it, I do appreciate, the actors probably did their best, and we know that they're directed, so we don't know if that was their full potential. So I do believe, as much as I hated Taylor, she played the bitchy daughter and she did a good job with it, right? We all wanted to strangle her, so I give her props for that. So I too would give it a 1, but I cannot I can't give it more than that.
Mm-mm. Yeah, negative.
So, all right, well, that's where it's gonna end for us today. I'm Whaley Hollow, that's Sunchild. Nunya unfortunately was booted out, but it's all good. So until next time, we will see you. We hope to do 28 days later and 28 weeks, or whatever they're called, that series the next time, and we hope you join us. So until then, bye guys.
Bye.
Bye.